All right, good evening, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Raw Dog Monday here on the We Book It podcast. I am your host, Coach, and I am joined by our producer, the man, the myth, the legend, Big Daddy C.
What's going on? What's going on with your coach?
Just sometimes rethinking why I moved down to the St. Louis area sometimes. You know,
Yeah,
it's the traffic is and the driving, it can really get on my nerves sometimes.
yeah, I feel you on that one.
All right, but you doing well, C?
Yeah, I'm good, man. I took me a nap early on. I was like, let me get a couple hours in, then just walk around, do stuff around the house before I get ready to record and just keep track of what's going on Raw. I am not watching this game at all right now. They actually had I think it's a double header. I don't know who won the first game. Um, I think the Raiders was playing. I, I think they were playing. They had a game tonight too. I'm not sure.
Yeah, they're playing the
Um,
Falcons.
they're currently playing right now.
Yes.
Okay, yeah, because I know, yeah, the Bears and Vikings are still on right now. So ended. I think the third quarter just ended, but just keep tracking of the scores right now. Caleb's not playing bad. I mean, it's just they're playing. They just playing it safe right now because
Yeah.
yeah, we're not ready. But yeah, let's talk some wrestling, man.
Yes, sir. Well, we talked about the last 2 weeks of Raw. 2 weeks ago, probably the best Raw we've seen in a long time. Last week, kind of a letdown, but how can you respond after having such a great Raw? This Raw was again one great episode, and we're gonna jump right into it. It starts out with CM Punk coming to the ring and beginning his trash talk against Seth Rollins. He's was baiting Rollins to come out each time because he mentioned how he hates how when he's talking, Rollins' stupid music hits and he does this stupid dance and actually did a really good impression of Seth
No,
Rollins
yeah,
too
it
with
was
his
nice.
laugh. He was waiting, baiting for him to come out, and nothing happened. Eventually, Seth Rollins came down from the crowd, and there was a lot of back and forth. And actually, I have their the quotes pulled up here. CM Punk told Seth Rollins, "Just because you grew up idolizing me, putting on a pair of wrestling boots does not make you CM Punk." He also said there are not enough staples in the world to put you back together again after he made a comment about what he did to Drew McIntyre. Punk also said you belong in the audience with the rest of the CM Punk fans. And then this one was the kicker before the brawl started. Seth Rollins, this fan, he's got more WrestleMania main events than you ever will, and that's a fact, Phil. And then a brawl breaks out. They go down into the ring. They eventually then go out into the crowd, beating each other up, separated by security, and eventually the match is set for January 6th, the Netflix premiere of Monday Night Raw, CM Punk versus Seth Rollins. See, what did you think of this to kick off the night?
I loved it, man. Like we had a little teaser last week. What was it? Last week?
Yeah.
Yeah, last week we had a little teaser. I know Sammy was partly. Well, no, it was the. I think it was the week. Yeah, because
Oh, it
that's
was.
when.
Yeah, you're right. It was 2 weeks
Yeah,
ago.
yeah, because that was the big Monday Night Raw that everyone was raving about. Because Jay and Sammy were breaking it up basically. But yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it's good to see that we got more of it this time around. Like they fighting all over the arena. Man, like we've been wanting this like for years, man. Like because CM Punk would not CM Punk, but Seth will always be throwing out tweets, throwing out subliminal shots about CM Punk,
Mm-hmm.
and Punk would respond here and there, and then eventually, when Punk signed that whole deal with Fox, when they had the little show, and it was like, oh man, maybe this is like a taste of what we can get. This might be the prelude. It was going to take a little bit, and then he ended up coming back to wrestling in AEW, and he was like, "Okay, all right, that's cool, all right." And then years later, here he is back in WWE. So I was like, man, we just had to wait a little longer, but we finally got him back. And like now, right on schedule, like just instantly, him and Rollins, like we already getting it, man. So I'm excited to see that this is what we're gonna get at the start of the year, the first Monday Night Raw of the year to be exact. And so I'm excited for this, man. Yeah, I'm ready. I'm like January has the potential to be the greatest Monday Night Raw probably in the last decade. And so I hope
Mm-hmm.
it lives up to the bill.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I mean, A+ way to kick off the night, and it just gets you ready for the action that later happened in this Monday Night Raw. Before we get into our next match, we get a quick backstage segment with the Judgment Day. Finn Balor upset that nobody was out there to help him at Saturday night's main event for the World Championship match, to where actually Liv Morgan is the one doing the bragging about how she is doing the best out of everybody in the Judgment Day. So kind of teasing the breakup once more, and we'll get more about the Judgment Day later on in this episode. But then we have our Intercontinental Championship match between Braun Breaker and Ludwig Kaiser. And all in all, really, really good match. I thought Kaiser did a great job showing off his athleticism that is kind of underrated. And Braun Breaker selling his shoulder injury, doing a lot of his stuff with one arm. Like I said, selling the injury. He did a freaking Frankensteiner with one arm. That was impressive. A one arm spear. I mean, he was unbelievable. And obviously, end of the match, Braun Breaker pulls out the victory. Right call, in my opinion. And we look to see who Breaker will go up against now, since it seems his rivalry with Kaiser is now over. See, what did you think of this match?
I thought it was awesome, man. Like I said, Kaiser. I've never really been a Kaiser fan, but I'm starting to gain a lot more respect for him as a competitor. This dude is the truth, man. It's nice to see him be like kind of be away from the whole the fold with Gunther, and like allowing him to like really um be himself, and like really make a name for himself and be on his own. So he's definitely doing a great job at that right now. So only time will tell if he gets another shot at this. I don't think this is over between these two. I think we might get another match. And so who knows? He might mess around and beat Brian. And you never know. So I'm excited to see what happens, where these two individuals go from here.
Yeah, I agree. I think these two just have too good of chemistry not to let this keep going.
Mhm.
And then again, you throw Sheamus into the mix when he comes back. It's just going to be the IC title is going to have great matches for a long time right now with these
Mhm.
three, and they've done a great job building these three together with in-ring chemistry, and it's showing in the performance. We then get a backstage segment with the New Day, still talking about why everyone's so upset with them and everything. And actually, they did post a funny Twitter video, or I'm sorry, X video, um, online with Kofi Kingston uh, jawing at the fans, uh, telling them, "What would you do if you were in our shoes? You would do the exact same thing." So it's kind of funny how they're building up the heat right now. But backstage, they're going into the locker room only for Rey Mysterio to come out and tell them that uh, in the locker room, nobody wants the New Day in there, so they're going to have to find somewhere else to change. And it obviously you could see the tension. with Woods and Mysterio. Kofi is ticked off, and Woods says, "I thought you were supposed to be a leader, Rey." And Rey Mysterio says, "I am being one. Now go find somewhere else to go." And I mean, bringing real life into the storylines again, very similar to the Miz and the Chris Benoit situation. So, see what you think of that brief but very entertaining backstage segment.
Man, I love it. Like they're really committing to this heel run that they're starting up now. Um like I said, I want to see what the end game is for this. See how far they're going to go. Are they going to eventually get a tag team championship run or not? Because it seems like this is like a new iteration of the group. So like are they just gonna go full rebrand? How like what's gonna happen from here? Like I want to see what the rebrand is going to be like. You
Mm-hmm.
know, new theme. Are we gonna get a new theme song, new graphics, new attire? Like how is this gonna play out? So I'm excited to see what happens the week in the weeks to come for the new day.
Yeah, for sure. They're doing a great job with the storytelling. We've said this for the last 2 months, just how great the creative team has done with this inevitable heel turn with the New Day and keeping us all on our toes. We then go to the ring for a promo by Liv Morgan, and it's, I mean, standard. I'm the best, yada, yada, yada. One thing I did notice about it is Dominic Mysterio taking the microphone, obviously still getting the boos, so where he can't talk. They're not as loud as they used to be. So again, hinting at maybe a babyface turn for Dom in the future. Um, I think it's going to still take some time, but it's. I think the seeds have been planted, and the crowd is starting to maybe sway a little bit. I'm not sure if they're. It's definitely not all the way yet, but that's what caught my eye in this segment was the boos not as loud as they used to be. Anyways, Rhea Ripley comes out to the ring um, and says that she's the number one contender and that they will be having a match. They did not say when the match would happen, but just that a match would happen. Um, I mean, this was kind of almost a throwaway segment just to set up the last bit of this feud, hopefully. Um, and see and agree with you can agree with me or disagree with me on this. Do you think that when people hear the the pop for Rhea obviously is very strong, would you compare that to a Stone Cold Steve Austin pop? I've seen this on social media recently, and I'm like, I don't see it, but
No, I mean when it comes to I think when it comes to female like superstars, she's number one. Like she's the most over um female superstar in the company right now. And so like is her pop at Stone Cold level? No. It's that we talk it's two different it's different levels to this, as they always say.
right.
Like her pop is what it is, but like I think Stone Cold it's a whole nother stratosphere with Stone Cold's pop. Like when you hear their glass shatter, like it the it's like the Richter scale is like it is
Hmm.
wild. Like it's deafening. Like, and like I've never had the pleasure of being at an event where Stone Cold has been there or The Rock. So I hope that before I leave this earth, that or before they leave this earth, that I can witness them in person and just hearing that throughout the arena. So
Hmm.
but like yeah, man, that you know but seeing it on television is enough. Like the man is Stone Cold, man. The pop is unlike no other. Same thing with The Rock, man. It's just a level of pop that it's hard for most people to get. You know, CM Punk probably is up there as well. You know, in his returns. But if we talking on a consistent basis, it's Stone Cold and The Rock,
Mm-hmm.
like, and it's everybody else up under them, or the Gong. If you hit a Gong, an Undertaker,
Yeah.
yeah, it's really those three. Maybe Shawn Michaels if you hear Shawn Michaels' theme, you know. But nah, I think Rhea, as great as she is, as popular as she is, I think she's not at that. Her pop is not at their level yet.
Yeah, and it's almost more like a cheap pop in that way, just to get the
Yeah,
crowd excited. That's kind of how I look at it. It's
yeah.
more of a that cheap pop just to say, "Oh, the crowd are invested in this
Hmm.
segment now."
Right.
Like that's kind of how I see it. So I'm glad we're on the same page with that one.
Hmm.
Um, so that promo eventually led into a women's intercontinental championship tournament match between Raquel Rodriguez, Zoe Stark, and Caden Carter. Um,
Pittsburgh.
yeah, I wasn't really paying a whole lot of attention to it. Was surprised how long it went. They did give them a lot of time, so I will say that was good. But it was a lot of back and forth between all three. I really liked Carter in this matchup, going up against two bigger opponents, and everything was great until the finish when Zoe Stark botched her finisher and covered for the win, and she just got the heck out of the ring just to avoid any speculation about the botch. They didn't even show the replay. Um, so yeah, Zoe Stark wins to advance. She will face Dakota Kai in the semifinal. Um, yeah.
Yeah, Pittsburgh. I mean, I did. I didn't, like I said, I didn't watch Raw live at all. I just watched, like, waited till they uploaded the videos. But I did actually go click on that video and just kind of skim the different points throughout the match. I like Caden Carter and Raquel, so like, um, so that was the main reason I really clicked on. But I mean, it did say Zoe Starks won. So I just wanted to see how she did win. She did botch her finisher. I did notice that. And so I would not be surprised if I had to pick. I would more likely have her win. I like actually have her go to the finals and face whoever it is that she's gonna face. If she happens to win the championship, I would not be opposed to that because she looks like a believable um, person to, like, she's a believable competitor to actually be that first champion. And so yeah, I wouldn't be opposed to it. But then besides that, Pittsburgh of a match.
All right. Then we got a couple of backstage segments. We get our first one. I should say this way, it happened a little bit earlier in the night. Seth Rollins is still fuming after his interaction with CM Punk. Drew McIntyre comes back, and McIntyre actually throws the advice that Rollins gave McIntyre earlier in the year back in his face, saying, "Hey, remember when you told me not to worry, uh, not to focus so much on one thing right now?" And basically calling Seth out about it. To which Seth Rollins said, "Well, I'm going to go take care of CM Punk, something you could never do." And
Ooh.
that left that. But also in that segment, Drew McIntyre basically said that he is coming after the entire bloodline and for those who helped him, mainly Sammy and Jay Uso. Later on in the show, we do get Drew McIntyre and Sami Zayn both fighting backstage. Um, just nothing really of substance, just like you said, fighting. We also get an interesting development where Kyrie Sane is attacked by Zoe Stark in backstage. Kyrie Sane is supposed to be in the IC Women's championship tournament. So she will have to be replaced next week in her match. So I'm curious to see who they are going to go with. A lot of people are saying that it should be Io Sky. I'm not, I don't know if that's going to be the route that they go, but it's definitely been an intriguing development for next week's Raw, which they are probably taping right now since it's a double taping episode over in Boston for the holidays.
Oh yeah, that's right. Give the wrestlers the week off. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah,
And then
yeah.
our final backstage segment, which was very interesting. The Miz is trying to still escape the final testament, saying, "Okay, we did our job. We beat the Wyatt Six." To which Karrion Kross says, "We're not done because they came after my wife, so I want them to really pay for what they did." And he even goes on to said to the Miz that you actually have a match next week against Dexter Loomis on Monday Night Raw. And actually, even Paul Ellering, who I don't think we've heard speak since 1980 something, uh, finally chipped in and said, "Miz, I saved your life twice, so now you owe us twice more." And Miz just is, with his scared look, walks away, says, "I'll go get ready for next week then." To which Karrion Kross responds with, "Well, he probably doesn't stand a chance."
You're right.
So, see your thoughts on those backstage segments. We got a lot of them in almost succession. It was like boom, boom, boom.
Yeah. The Seth Rollins Drew situation, I think it's pretty interesting in that regard, considering their previous feud. Going into Mania, and so it was a nice little cheap shot there. I'm like doing something that's about to go do something that you couldn't do. It's put away CM Punk, so I thought that was really interesting there. I did see the thing where Drew was trying to, where Punk, not Punk, but Rollins was talking with Jackie Redmond,
Mm-hmm.
and you see Drew coming up behind, look like he's getting ready to try to attack Rollins, and then Sammy comes out of nowhere and they just started brawling, and so I thought that was very interesting too. I like these two. That I think we can get into part two. Hopefully, if not at on Monday Night Raw on January 6th, probably get a rematch at a Saturday night's main event on the 25th of January. And then the other segment with the Final Testament. I think it's pretty cool. Miz trying to, fight his way, weasel his way out of the group. I'm like, no, it doesn't work that way, Miz. And like you made a deal with the devil, and now you gotta keep on keeping on until they decide that they don't need you anymore. So, and I'm pretty
Mm-hmm.
sure when that day comes, they're more likely gonna beat the crap out of him. So, so yeah, that's my thoughts on the situations there.
Well, this leads into our main event, which is the World Tag Team Championship match between the War Raiders and Finn Balor and JD McDonough. But before both teams can make their way to the ring, a teaser is aired, which a zero is featured before it turns into a no sign. And it is probably the first hint of Penta coming to WWE.
I didn't catch that one.
It was very subtle. It was probably about 5 seconds worth of a teaser, and then they just
Uh,
immediately moved away to something else.
mm,
I didn't see it until like the very last minute or the very last second of it, and then when I went online and saw the full thing, I was like, okay, I understand why I missed it because it
mm,
was just
yeah.
literally like that.
Yeah, I'm excited, man. I'm excited to see what he does with WWE, man. I'm shocked. I'm shocked that they just go ahead and just they're putting him on the main roster now instead of sending him to NXT. But I think he's top tier. So like at this point, he's proven his worth.
Yeah,
That he doesn't need to be at NXT, starting out yet. He just push him on to the main roster. When you've been around that long, you know, you don't need to. It's almost like with AJ Styles, like you don't need to be in NXT. I know I was shocked when they did it with Bobby Roode, and they had James Storm there for a little bit, but that didn't last long. And then Samoa Joe started at NXT, and then he got onto the main roster. So I think it depends on who it is and what their preference is how they want to start out. And so I think Triple H knows best, and I'm pretty sure he knows that having Penta on his roster is going to be top notch, especially if he's on Monday Night Raw. So, yeah, I'm excited to see him arrive onto Monday Night Raw.
So now going into the main event match, it was a lot of back and forth, mainly Judgment Day controlling with their heel tactics. Towards the end of the match, um, there was a really good near fall, to which both JD McDonough and Finn Balor hit their finishers on Eric, and probably at about 2.99, Ivar, perfect timing, comes in to break up the pin, and I honestly thought they weren't going to pull the trigger and just let the Judgment Day win on that one, but good job to the creative team and the performers for keeping me on the edge of my seat, because I really thought, I was like, oh great, we're gonna have more of this, aren't we?
Right.
But anyways, while that's going on, JD McDonough distracts the referee by getting a chair, only not to use it, and Finn Balor then runs and grabs a chair from the uh, ring announce area, only for the chair to get stuck, because in disguise as one of the production people is Damian Priest, who yanks the chair and away from Finn Balor, phasing him a little bit. Balor gets back into the ring. War Raiders hit their finisher on Balor, pin for the win, and War Raiders are your new tag team champions. And it is official. I would say it's officially the War Raiders are baby faces in this case. So I'm curious to see how this is going to go. If we're going to see this long term, or are they going to lose it to set up the chase again? Because we've been seeing that a lot with Triple H's WWE. As soon as the baby faces win, they get a couple of defenses. They lose their title to build back up the chase that where everyone gets more involved. See your thoughts on this match.
Just laughing because wasn't too long ago when we were talking about the War Raiders returning, and they tease us with a possible push, and then they end up not doing anything with it.
Mm-hmm.
And they back on the top of the mountain, tag team champions. Which I'm cool with, because I wanted the titles off the Judgment Day. I think it's time for them to just go ahead in the group. And so I just want to see somebody else with the titles and who's actually going to be more willing to defend them. And so, yeah, so I was just laughing because it's like, man, it's like Triple H be hearing me, man. It's like he watches the podcast.
Mm-hmm.
No one just knows. Like no one knows. And like he knows that I've been talking my shit about the War Raiders. And so he's like, all right, I got something for you, Claude, Big Daddy. Got something for you. And so but yeah, shout out to the War Raiders for taking the titles off the Judgment Day. Thank you. And so hopefully they can keep them for a good significant amount of time. I don't know. I would imagine the Judgment Day gets a rematch. I hope not, but but if they do, I hope that they lose that, and then the War Raiders can move on and actually have a legit title run this time, because seems like the last run that they did have with the tag team championship probably didn't last more than a month, I guess.
Yeah, I would
Yeah,
agree. Maybe a month.
yeah, and so because I think around that time they might have been feuding with, I think the Street Profits. I think it was somewhere around there. Maybe the Street Profits or somebody else, or the I think either the Street Profits, probably the Usos during the early days of the Bloodline. Yeah. But yeah, so I'm excited to see what happens with them from this point. And I think because the last time they had was one of them is married to
Sarah Logan.
yeah, and so that was the last time we probably saw them doing much of anything because one of the guys was injured. Was it Ivar that was injured or the other one?
Eric.
Eric was injured. Okay, yeah. So but yeah, I'm excited that they back doing their thing. Hopefully they get a long run this time. So that's my thoughts on the situation there.
Yeah, and actually, Wade Barrett actually gave a shout out to Sarah Logan during the match because she just, for those of you that don't know, Eric and Sarah Logan are married and they now have 2 kids together. Wade Barrett mentioned that on air and gave a nice little callback to the Viking Raiders by saying that Michael Cole sent Sarah Logan some antlers as a
Christmas gift.
Yeah, as a Christmas gift, calling back to when she was Valhalla. So I really enjoyed that during the match. But overall, I think really good episode of Monday Night Raw. Definitely better than last week's, and we're just building for January 6th. That's the one. That's the big one. The big one's coming up for the Monday Night Raw on Netflix. They're teasing superstars coming back. They're teasing new matches. They're teasing championships. Like it's just gonna be unbelievable.
It's given. It's like it's given Monday Night Raw after WrestleMania, basically.
Yes, exactly.
Probably on a higher level this time around since it's the debut of a new network. So, or new streaming site, I guess. This is big time. Hopefully this. I think because did they say what the rating was going to be? Was it TV 14?
Yeah, still TV 14.
Which is where that's what it was in the Attitude Era. So, and that's what it was. Attitude Era, ruthless aggression. That's what we want. TV 14, and no bleeps. Triple H, no bleeps. Okay, say that stuff for SmackDown and NXT. No bleeps for Monday Night Raw.
They don't bleep in NXT really either. After what Jada Parker said 2 weeks ago.
It's my baby right there. Don't bleep her out. She can say whatever she wants.
No, I was glad she didn't get bleeped out. I was like, yeah, good for you, Jada.
She is a gift from God. Oh man. But yeah, I digress. But yeah, it was a great show overall, man. I think I'm curious to see what. Hopefully, nothing gets leaked out for the taping for next Monday, and then because they, for whatever reason, people have been leaking stuff, on X. So that's why I don't even go on X like that, because I don't want to see nothing that gets leaked out for the taping for next week. But overall, great show for Monday Night Raw. I give it an A. I didn't find anything wrong with it, besides the one Pittsburgh match, but for the most part, I give it a solid A.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. I'm going with an A as well.
Yeah.
For tonight's Monday Night Raw. And for those of you listening to this, joining us, thank you once more for continuing to support our podcast. We are coming at you 5 nights a week for wrestling. We have Monday Night Raw Dog. We have AEW Wednesdays. We have TNA Thursdays. SmackDown, Lowdown, Rebound, Throwdown.
So many like 10,000 names at this point.
And of course, our main podcast on Sunday nights where we recap everything in the world of wrestling. And if you haven't already, and this is your first time, please remember to like, share, and subscribe to all of our content. And we are on the road to 2,000 subscribers and hoping to get that before WrestleMania 41, where we got big things in store for not only our podcast, but for the WWE Universe as well. So for Big Daddy C running the controls, I'm Coach. Thank you all again for joining us for Monday Night Raw Dog, and we will see you next week.
Peace out, y'all. Thanks for watching.